Chapter 1. Bayou Cane. I was a small snapping turtle, surrounded on all sides by hungry gators, snatched from the life that Roman and I had just begun to build together. It was impossible to think that I now found myself wading through green water up to my thighs, heading towards an unknown fate that I was helpless to stop. Only a few days ago, we had been happily arguing over what color to paint the living room, even picking out swatches. I could still feel one of the small squares in my jeans pocket, drenched and torn. It seemed like a reflection of the shattered dream we had once shared. Roman and I had just moved in together. We had been so happy. We'd barely had enough time together. I flinched at a splash a few feet behind me, but it wasn't the reptiles gliding just below the surface that I was worried about. I was flanked by a pack of werewolves, escorting us to a trial of alphas. There, we would face judgment for breaking some secret laws I had never heard of, decided by a group of elders that I never knew existed. I was convinced it would be a death sentence. I could still feel the screams rising in my throat as the pack had attacked Roman from all sides. They were in their human forms then, as they were now, but they still had overwhelmed him, using their inhuman strength to break his legs as their alpha, Jean-Luc Gerard, had ordered. I tried to get to him, tried to fight back, but Jean-Luc had wrapped his long arms around me, holding me back no matter how much I struggled against him, even after sinking my teeth into the flesh of his arm. I remember the rage in Roman's eyes as he saw me taken prisoner. He had attempted to save me, despite his broken legs, striking out from the ground, shattering the kneecap of one of the other males. He had refused to give up. They beat him nearly to death for it, knocking him unconscious. At least Jean-Luc had allowed me to set his legs so they would heal straight.
"We wouldn't want Roman facing the council with a crooked leg,"
he said, with a predatory grin. Two of the larger male members were carrying Roman between them on a makeshift raft made from crudely lashed together cypress logs. All of his cuts had healed, and the bruises on his legs were beginning to fade. It wouldn't be long before he regained consciousness. Should I look for an opportunity to escape? No, there was nowhere to go. We were schlepping through the heart of remote Bayou Cane, a few hours north of Houma, Louisiana. I turned to find Jean-Luc watching me. He removed his coat and slicked the water from it.
"We weren't always enemies," he said. "There was once a time where I counted Roman as my closest friend."
"I would have thought he would have hated you for turning him," I said.
"He did at first," replied Jean-Luc. "But eventually he came to appreciate the gift, or at least accept his fate."
Suddenly, Jean-Luc lunged in front of me, disappearing into the brackish water. The water thrashed, then abruptly stilled as Jean-Luc emerged, dripping and holding the carcass of a huge green and brown python. He had just killed it, crushing its head in his hand. It was nearly as long as a truck and had been swimming right in front of me. Had he just saved my life?
"Snake almost had you," he said. "Damned tourists, releasing their pets where they don't belong. At least we will have some fresh meat tonight."
The sole female werewolf, that went by the name of Noël Dupuis, sauntered up to examine the kill. She was breathtakingly beautiful, in a cheerleader model kind of way. A busty blonde, annoyingly with the same color of green eyes as Roman. "I've seen bigger," she said with a wink, tossing her somehow perfect hair as she looked my way. "I'm sure this little tart knows what I'm talking about." What was that supposed to mean? Noel's head snapped in Roman's direction. "He's waking up." I rushed to his side, but Noel beat me there, covering the distance with the speed of a tigress. She moved with a deadly swiftness that was surprising, given her all-American girl looks. "It's been a long time since you have woken up to my face by your side," she said,